Can I help you, boo?
I'm trying to get my charger.
Your charger. Yeah. Oh, it's right here, boo.
He's like, I'm not worried about what y'all doing. Y'all keep looking at me.
Here, I'm sorry, boo.
Thanks, Mom.
See you
welcome,
later,
baby.
alligator. See you later, alligator.
After wild crocodile.
He's so cute. All right, y'all. We're here with Words on the Street with Brittany. I'm in LA today, and we're on location in the jungles.
Oh my gosh, see, don't say that. The jungles. I had no idea where the fuck I was landing.
You were in the jungles
until I got here.
Yeah, but it's easy over here. It's nice.
Yeah, you know, it's not as crazy as it used to be.
Exactly.
That's what people say.
Exactly. You fed me some catfish, fire, some cornbread, Dad's recipe, fire.
Fire. Thanks, Pops. Thanks,
I appreciate the hospitality.
Always.
So I wanted to do an interview with you because you have a story, and your story it can go so many ways and it's so deep. And I want to give you a chance to tell us who you are, and then you let me know where you want to start.
Okay.
Who are you?
I am Brittany. I have my parents are Pam and John. I have a sister, Jen, 5 years younger than I am. I am kind of still trying to figure out who I am now, minus all of the nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to cook. I like to make people happy. I like to make my kids happy. I like to, I guess, just try to do things to figure out who I am. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because for a while I was living for other people and I was living for other things, substances and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm still just kind of learning.
So you have a 15-year-old, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's your oldest.
Ava.
So who was Brittany 15 years ago?
15 years ago, before I had Ava, I was a wild child. My mom says that I was rebellious, and she's like, you always have a rebel spirit. You always want to go against the grain and da-da-da. I still kind of didn't know who I was. Especially like growing up in Lompoc and being black in Lompoc, but not being black enough to hang out with certain people. So I was always made fun of because of the way my name, because I read a lot, because I spoke differently, because I had two parents in the household. I was always like, and my mom used to tell me all the time, she's like, why do you want to continue to be, you want to be a follower, you're a born leader, you want to be a follower. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm older, now I understand what she was talking about. I used to be a people pleaser. Just kind of.
Are you the oldest, middle?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest?
I'm the oldest. My sister's 5 years younger than I am. And it was always just the four of us, my mom, my dad, my sister, and myself. And I kind of got rebellious when my mom married my dad and they had my sister. Mm-hmm. I kind of felt like...
Is that your biological father?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
But in all other aspects...
He's your father,
yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But I always felt like I was kind of on the outside looking in because they had their little trifecta.
Now, was that because of situations that happened with your parents, or is that just, do you think that was part of the natural feeling from a child who now sees their parents having another child, or their mother having another child with another man, even if he loved you and everything?
Yeah.
I think that was like just something natural that you felt.
Yeah, I think that it was because nobody really said much, but as I got older and all those outside influences, you know what I'm saying, mm-hmm. made sure to let me know, oh, that's not your dad. That's your sister's dad. That's not your dad. So because I wanted to fit in, I grabbed on to that narrative and I was like, oh yeah, he's not my dad. He's not my dad. He's not my dad. Yeah. So when I was rebellious growing up, I can continue to tell him and made it, known that that's not my dad. But now that I have kids of my own and I'm older, I can understand that, he might not be biologically my dad, but I still call him for everything.
Do you think there was anything you needed at that time that would have helped you, or do you think that was just
I think that when I started to get like in high school, I tried to figure out why, like what I did as a kid that made my biological dad not want to have anything to do with me. Seeing my dad with my sister and and him with me, he would read us both bedtime stories. He always, was supportive in things that we did when we wanted to do basketball and track. He would take us out to the park and shoot basketballs, with us, even though like we weren't really like sporty, but he tried. And I tried to give that to him because it was like, you don't have, sons, but I feel like that question always lingered in the back of my mind, like, why didn't my dad want me? Because I thought I was pretty tight.
Yeah.
But now, getting older, I understand that not everybody's made. I mean, you can have kids, but that doesn't make you a parent. And, and somebody said too, they were like, well, what would happen if your dad, came, your biological dad came and was like, well, I want to be, I'm almost 40 years old.
Yeah.
Like, what do I need you for?
Yeah.
I already went through all of that. Like, if you have any questions, you can ask my dad. You can ask Mr. John. You can ask him because he knows more about me than you ever will. Mm-hmm. So, but
that void has been filled.
That void has been filled.
Yeah.
But when I was like growing up, it was a void that I never had an answer to, and I didn't want to continue to ask because. No disrespect to my mom or whatever, but she would get upset because she would be like, well, we gave you a good life and whatnot, which I understood at that time, but it was still like, well, why didn't he even want to bother?
But I guess from a single mother's, well, I mean, I'm not single now, you're not single, but from a standpoint of a mother who isn't with the child's father, I guess, is there really an answer for that?
Yeah, and there's not.
I mean, I think for a mother, it could trigger some hurt, some anger,
and then kind of going through the same thing temporarily. Yeah. With, my kid's father. Yeah. My kid's father. Like, I don't want them to have to feel. You know what I mean? I don't want them to have to feel that way. Like, gladly, now he's more involved in their life than my dad was with mine. Yeah. But I've always sat and thought, well, what do I say if she asks me? And then my only thing that I can say is that, my dad didn't love himself. So how is he going to love me? I have a half sister somewhere. Yeah. And she grew up the same way that I did. Like, he just didn't want to be involved in any of our lives. Yeah. So I can't.
And sometimes it's like I remember when my kids were young, my dad used to tell me, you can only be the mom. Yeah. So you can't, and there's going to be some things that he's going to have to answer for. Yeah. And it's like with Azriel, like, I can't teach him how to be a man. You know what I mean? But he has my dad. Exactly. To show him, how to be a man. Mm-hmm. Like, there are specific people in his life that I feel like God placed in his life to kind of, fill in those gaps. Like, thankfully now their dad is, getting it together, and he's, trying to be a staple in their lives, but it's tricky. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we're not used to you being here. Mm-hmm. And we're not used to you saying, "Oh, you can do this and you can't do that." But she doesn't really, step over boundaries. He's just trying to be there, assert himself.
Assert himself as dad, and who's to say once Papa's gets older? You know what I'm saying? Ava's already past that age. Once Azriel gets older, like, there's some questions that I'm gonna have to answer. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, to him, and I'm just gonna have to segue and be like, well, call your dad and ask him. Yeah. Call your dad and ask him. You're going to have to do that because I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one thing that my mom wasn't able to do because I couldn't just pick up the phone and call my dad because he disappeared.
Yeah.
The last time I saw him, he was at my uncle's funeral, and he said he was going to Africa to look for Jesus. And I wanted to say...
Did he find him?
I wanted to say so bad, I don't think that Jesus is in Africa. I feel like Jesus is wherever you are, but if you want to, go ahead and...
But if you have the address...
Like, let me know.
You have the
let me know,
address.
because I got some questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He wants to see me too.
You know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just kind of, after that conversation that I had, not just that one, and then the one that I had afterwards, I called my grandma, who's his mom, that lives in San Diego. And I called her, to talk to her. And she was like, oh, your dad's here. Do you want to talk to him? And I was like, not really. And I was like, I called to talk to you. And she was like, okay, well, hold on a second. And then put him on the phone. And there was an uncomfortable silence. And he was like, well, words are overrated. So I just want to let you know that I'm glad that you're doing well. And, hopefully you continue to do well. And then he hung up the phone before I could even say anything. So I feel like that's what my mom was trying to protect me from.
Exactly.
So now I feel like an ungrateful, kid, because like my mom said, I'm hard-headed. My grandma, who's my dad's mom, used to say I'm brick-headed.
But maybe you needed to go through that.
Yeah.
But she was able to protect you long enough for that when you went through that, you could deal with that.
Yeah.
Because how would you have dealt with that at 6,
Yeah, I wouldn't have. So now I understand where she's coming from, but that also shaped the way that it shaped the relationship that I had with men, and it also shaped the relationship that I had with substances. Because, it didn't matter what, my mom and my dad did. I still felt like there was a void somewhere. And so I felt like, okay, well, maybe if I can find some other man to value me like my dad was supposed to, then I'll be fine. But here, like 16, 17 years later, you know what I'm saying? I could have skipped all of that had I known what I know now.
And what do you know now?
I know now that my value is not based on what another person thinks about me.
Yeah.
My value is not based on that man chose to leave because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that had nothing to do with my mom. That had nothing to do with my dad. Had nothing to do with my sister. Had nothing to do with anybody. It had everything to do with him. Mm-hmm. And I kept internalizing that. Like, there was something wrong with me. But there was something wrong with them.
Yeah, exactly.
With him. So, going through that, and then kind of going through the same thing with my ex-husband. Mm-hmm. Kind of everything came full circle because I kept trying to figure out, how come I'm not good enough? How come I'm not good enough? Like, why don't you want to be here? Like, why don't you want to be with me? Why don't you want to be with the kids? Like, why do you want to be with his family? Mm-hmm. And it took his dad to tell me, Brittany, it has nothing to do with you not being good enough. It has everything to do with him not being good enough.
Exactly.
And I think his dad was telling me that to let himself know that he did his son a disservice. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, everybody has their opinions about, his dad or whatever, mm-hmm. but that stuck with me.
Yeah.
That stuck with me. Like, so when he told me that, my whole perception shifted. And I was like, oh, it's not me. It's him. But then I got to the point to where I was like, I know that you're amazing. So let me make it my job to show you that. Mm-hmm. And which is one of the reasons why I stayed so long.
Potential.
Like, I can't, it's like you trying to sell somebody, like, it's like, say the CEO of Dyson Vacuums. Mm-hmm. That's like me trying to, they know that they have a good product, but I'm still trying to sell to them that they have a good product.
Yeah. And
them not believing it, even though they know that it's true.
Yeah.
So am I going to continue to do this? Or am I going to continue to, or am I going to try to be a better mother to my children? Mm-hmm. And I put them on the back burner for a long time because I wanted to make sure that he knew that he was more than what he was doing.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What did you go through? You talked about your self-worth. What did you go through to figure that out?
I had to move out of Lompoc.
But okay, before you moved out of Lompoc, what did you have to go through? What were your trials and tribulations for you to get to the point where you said, I'm enough? Like, I'm ready to, I have to go out of Lompoc for me. For like, what was that?
So, me getting out of Lompoc, me getting out of Lompoc was based on him. So he was in jail already, and they had already sent him to the Salvation Army in Santa Monica. I was still in Lompoc, and I was going to stay there because, I'm not going to move because you want me to move. Like, who the fuck are you? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do. Like, I've been taking care of these kids and blah, blah, blah. It took me losing my apartment. No, it took me losing my job, losing my apartment, and then losing my truck. Everything that I worked for behind drug addiction and behind, following this man and whatever he was doing. And I went to I took Papa's with me to go and get something, mm-hmm. which I shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. And I remember so I'm an IV user.
Papa's is your son.
Yes, Azrael. So I'm an IV user. I started doing meth. Whatever.
Intravenous.
Yeah. And I didn't know that there was any other way that you could do it. Mm. And when I found out that people could smoke it and eat it and snort it and do all kinds of shit, I was like, what the fuck? Like, yeah. So before I moved out of Lompoc, I used to mix my meth and my fentanyl together. Mm-hmm. Because it gave me a good little up and down. But I was like, okay, so I'm going to pack my stuff and, I'm going to go somewhere. I don't know where I'm going to go. And I hit myself. Papa was in the other room. And the next thing that I remember is I woke up and I was in the shower. And when I opened my eyes, I just saw Papa's face. So my dealer, was over me in the shower, like giving me Narcan. Mm. And Papa's was in between his legs. That's the first fucking face that I saw. Mm. And I was like, I have to get out of here. I have to get out of here. I'm going to die. So that was February 5th. February 6th, I had two of my friends. I bought a one-way train ticket out here to Lomita to stay with Stacia, Josh's sister, mm-hmm. because I needed to leave. Do you know that after that, for 6 months, Papa's was scared of the shower? Mm. He was scared of running water. When it rained, he would freak out. And that was all my fault. So when I left, I packed as much as I could with whatever bag that I could. And I got on the train and I came out here. I didn't really know Stacia. I didn't really know Anthony, her baby daddy, or her, I don't want to say the baby daddy because that's disrespectful, but you know what I mean? Like, partner, her partner. Yeah. But he championed for me to come out there. Joshua set up my two friends to take me to the train station. And I packed up and I never looked back. And I struggled because, so Ava used to come out there every summer mm-hmm. just to hang out, because Stacia always had things planned. They always did a whole bunch of things with all the kids. They went to Medieval Times, they went to Six Flags. So she was already there. But I knew that I would have to send them back so that way I could get myself together. But it took that, and I'll never forget Papa's face. Like, if I could get it tattooed somewhere or painted somewhere, I would have that to remind me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's 6 now. Mm-hmm. He just started being able to get in the shower. Mm. You know what I'm saying?
What? Let's get into your drug use. Where did that start?
So, that started when I turned 18, because I thought I knew I thought I knew everything. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm turning 18. Like, my parents, they're just trying to hold me back and trying to do this and trying to do that. So I started living with some...
And you have good parents.
So let me let this be known. Let me just let it be known. My decisions had nothing to do with the way that my parents raised me. You know what I'm saying? They raised me. I was in church every single day. I was in the youth choir. I was a youth usher. I went to teen Bible study, regular Bible study, everybody Bible study. We cleaned, and me and my friend Lillian, we cleaned the church every Saturday for $50. So we were there every single day. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? My parents never did drugs. My parents never drank in front of us. You know, they probably went out and did their thing, but we don't know about it. Yes. You know, and that's perfectly fine. But because I had so much inner conflict and inner turmoil, you know, not to mention the fact that I had been sexually abused from the 5th to the 6th grade, the summer of 5th to 6th grade. And I feel like every woman that is an addict has that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Do you want to talk about that or no?
I'll just say, I'll be general and I'll say this. It was a family member that, you know, we don't speak to anymore. And this is a conversation that I feel like I've been wanting to have with my dad and with my mom, and, you know, but I don't want them to feel like it was their fault. Because I feel like they take a lot of responsibility for other people's actions. And, you know what I'm saying? How are they supposed to know that that person was a piece of shit? Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to know that. But what I will say is that it was a family member, and it happened repeatedly. And I never said anything because they told me that, you know, nobody would believe me. And around that time is when I started acting out. Mm-hmm. So I believed him. Yeah. But that shaped how I maneuvered around shaped how I maneuvered around men.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because his thing was like, oh, you know, well, you know, you're beautiful, you know, you're cute or whatever, but this is what men want. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, okay, for sure. So now you're checking a box that I'm trying to fill a void, and you're letting me know what I need to do to fill that void. And it made it fucking worse.
Yeah.
Worse.
Yeah.
So
that with we were talking about your meth addiction, and so before Papa's, because I know what stopped you
briefly,
but before Papa's, I was wondering what was driving you to keep going, because you had Ava, so that's a piece of it. Do you want to go into that?
I had Ava, but I feel like my head was louder than my heart.
Yeah.
So it was like, what can I do to keep things either distracted up here or silenced?
Yeah.
So, you know, I was in and out, you know what I'm saying, of Ava's life. Like, I don't want to sit here and say that my ex-husband got me involved in drugs, because I was already. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm a grown adult. I'm not going to blame anybody for anything that you know what I'm saying, mm-hmm. that I did willingly. But it didn't help.
Yeah.
But I felt like if I did what you were doing, you know, maybe that would bring us closer. And at the end, it just made shit fucking 10 times worse. So I remember Ava was, I want to say like Ava was like maybe 1. And I had a friend, this black girl that I was friends with. And I knew that he was doing what he was doing, but I didn't know how he was doing it or what he was doing. So I knew that something was going on, but I didn't know what was going on. So I ended up going to her, and she was like, well, instead of doing, because I used to just do coke. And I did, you know, coke just because I did EDM. I would go to raves and we do Molly and stuff like that. But it was never an issue, because once it runs out, it's gone.
Yeah.
Like, we're cool. But she was like, I brought her a bag of coke, and I was like, well, you know, do you want to do this? And she was like, well, I have something else. She was like, well, do you want to do it with me? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And she shot me up. And from that point on, you were hooked. it was a wrap. And it was fucked up because I don't like needles and I don't like to, do any of that. So I would always have to wait for somebody to do it for me. And so I didn't know that you could do it any type of way. Mm-hmm. Once I figured you could do it any type of way, man, fuck you, I don't need you. I'm just gonna either snort it or I'm gonna smoke it or I'm gonna eat it or whatever.
Yeah.
But I still remember that night. I was in her room, and right after she hit me, I was in the bathroom, and I just remember being warm, like from the bottom of your feet all the way up to the top of my head. And I thought I was gonna throw up and all kinds of shit. But after, it hit, I was like, oh, okay, so this is what I've been missing. This is what I've been missing right here. At that point, my ex-husband hadn't, he was super, no, we're not gonna, IV needles, none of that, you're not gonna make none of that, whatever. And he used to just give me shit about it, but, like, this is what I'd like to do. Like, what am I gonna do? Now, if I think about it now, how many times did I put myself at risk? You know what I mean? How do I not know that the needle that you stuck me with, you didn't use already?
Yeah.
Or how do I know that that's actually dope?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so once that took off, I remember being in a hotel room and the cops were banging on the door of the hotel room next to us. And I was in the bathroom smoking, and I remember picking out the door and the smoke coming out, and Ava's lying on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is at the Red Roof. My mom lives right around the corner on B Street. So I took Ava to her and I said, I need you to watch her and I'm just going to get my life together or whatever. And I never came back and picked her up. And my mom tells me now, that Ava used to sit in the window and she used to wait for me and she used to cry. And I feel upset because I'm like, and this is one of the reasons why I parent the way that I do. Because I don't ever want Ava to think that I'm not going to be around, or whatever. So I went through that for like 6-7 years. I was in and out of jail. Even after I got off probation, probation would still come over and just say hi, just because they were like, oh, you're doing great. Mm-hmm. Not knowing that, I just had to hide my bong or my pipe in the closet or whatever it may be. I let people into my house that I shouldn't have. I let people have pieces of me that I shouldn't have. I let myself there are a lot of things that happened to me that I feel like I deserved. Like, because I was a scumbag.
What makes you say that, though?
Because I was willing to sleep with I was willing to be friends with you, but sleep with your baby daddy. And then you come over to my house and you're crying to me, knowing that I know that he just left my house. Because he had dope. You know what I mean? So what kind of girl is that? And so when that shit started happening to me, that was my karma.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When he started doing that shit and, women would be at my house, like, I had to eat that.
Yeah.
But it was like, if drugs were not involved in any of that, I wouldn't have been that type of person. But because you had what I wanted, and I had what you wanted, we can exchange. We can exchange. And it'll be strange. You know how many women I had knocking on my door, looking for their dude because they swore that they were with me. And I'd be like, and I thought it was funny. I'd be like, oh, well, he's not here with me, he's not with you. Well, bitch, let's go find where he's at because he's not with either of us, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now I'm like, you're fucking disgusting. Like, and I don't want to, I don't like to say a lot of it just because it just makes me feel yucky or icky or whatever. But that's the reality of fucking drugs. You know what I mean? I knew a lot of dudes that, were straight and they would be gay for the stay. just to get some dope. Like, and most of these people, I'm like, I know your baby mama. Like, I know your girlfriend. Like, what are you doing over here? What are you doing? But it's just the insanity, you know what I'm saying, of the drug. I want what you have, okay, and you want what I have. So then let's just swap it out. Now, hell no. Alcohol never made me do that. You know what I'm saying? Cocaine never made me do that.
But weed don't make you do that.
No, absolutely, because I'm asleep. Because I'm asleep.
Make you do that.
Because I'm asleep.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things that happened to me, and you know what I'm saying, the main thing that I'm talking about was my doing. You know what I'm saying? Because I was messing with that girl's man, and she was in the operating room with me when I had Azriel, and she was with me when I had Zoe. And so I deserved that ass whooping.
I know.
When I got jumped in my apartment complex.
Oh, okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? He never put his hands on me, but she did. And it's taken me a lot of reflecting to understand that I deserved that. Because I sat up in your face, you know what I'm saying? And I, you know, we had a certain like little connection. And I was still messing with your baby daddy.
That's deep.
You know what I mean?
That's a piece of accountability. That's a big piece of accountability.
So me getting out of Blanco, because you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't speak for, you know, what, you know, first of all, her fucking baby daddy's a piece of shit. And we all know he's a piece of shit.
The accountability of
but it's about the accountability of me.
No,
when it comes to her and she knows who she is, I deserve that. Because at the end of the day, I looked at that lady in her face. She helped me through. I was having a panic attack when I was having Azriel because of Zoe. And she was there when you know what I'm saying, when I had Zoe and she had passed away. So I understand. I deserve that ass whooping. I deserve that for sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't speak to her now. I don't speak to him, but you know what I'm saying? If she sees it, like, that's my fault. Like, that's my
But the accountability and you being able to say, like, this is what I played in it. And it sounds like that's not a position you're playing ever again in any situation.
No.
But to be able to see you're part of it. You know?
I mean, and it took me getting out of Lompoc and being and not being so angry. I had to step out of my comfort zone, which is Lompoc, and actually be able to see like what a scumbag I was, because that scumbag fucking material, I would have whooped her ass too if it, you know what I'm saying, regardless of whatever the fuck, you know what I mean. She deserved that. I deserved that. She you know what I'm saying. Is she?
Yeah. Do you think she deserves an apology?
I think that she does, but I don't think that she would. You know, I'm gonna say this because I can't speak for anybody else, but I will say, you know, that I deeply apologize for that, because if that were to happen, you know what I'm saying, to me, especially, you know what I'm saying, if I know everything that you're going through, I would be upset too.
Yeah.
And maybe I can't sit here and be like, oh well, she should have handled it a certain way. It's not my place to tell anybody how they should handle fucking anything.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna handle it the way the fuck they want to. And she was disrespected enough, you know what I'm saying, to put her hands on me.
Do you think that you moving out here and you gaining some self-worth and understanding about yourself, that's what brought you to that?
Yeah.
Like you becoming the woman you should be?
Because if I was sitting there and I was still in Lompoc and I was still fucking, if I was in Lompoc, I would still be high. Because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do.
Well, there is.
I mean, there is. But who wants to do that?
I'm doing it every day. I'm doing it.
But be not everybody. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I'm just saying we're not all.
You know, we're not all.
This is going everywhere. We don't want to think everybody.
No, not everybody. Not everybody.
But it's very easy
personally.
But you have to make a cognizant decision that just because I went to school with this person, just because I grew up with this person, just because our parents know each other, if they're on drugs, well then I can't be around them.
Yeah.
In Lompoc, you really have to make that decision because we're all so close.
But then it's like you don't know who's on drugs and who's not. Sometimes
you don't. But you know what? You have to have a strong stance in what you do.
Yeah. So I have a strong stance
because I've asked people why you keep going to my bathroom. You know how I am.
Yeah, I know.
All many people just want to leave, like, cause she's about to fuck up.
I'm like, I gotta use the bathroom. He's like, again.
Did you drink something?
Be like, oh, first of all, I don't want to tell you. I'm trying to dookie real quick.
Okay,
like, damn, like,
and that is a no dookie room. So tell me, I need you to go somewhere else. Like, okay,
bye.
No.
But no, I had to, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, you know, they're fucked up for that. She's fucked up for that. She's fucked up for that. But no, I was fucked up for that. Mm-hmm. If I wouldn't have done that, you know what I'm saying? She wouldn't have had a leg to stand on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I highly doubt that she would have just went and fucking did what she did just for no fucking reason. Yeah. Because, you know what I'm saying, she has her. So
sounds like she was dealing with you purely because she wanted to deal with you. Maybe you had an ulterior motive.
Yeah.
So when she did that, it came from a place of hurt.
Yeah.
More.
And I can't sit there and say, well, you know, you could just talk to me, whatever. No, because at the end of the day, and mind you, I wasn't the only person that he was fucking around with. The wrath of all of that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I assume that it hurt more because...
Exactly, because of your interactions.
Yeah, it's my interaction. She was in the fucking operating room, like, and I was freaking out. And one of the doctors was like, well, you need to take some deep breath. And she was like, she had a baby that just passed away. Like, in the same room. Like, give her some grace. And he was like, oh, okay. And you know what I mean? So, I understand.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say her name. Okay? I am sorry for the role that I played in the destruction of our friendship, because had I been in my right frame of mind, that shit would have never happened. So I apologize for my role in it, and I don't expect you to, you know what I'm saying, apologize. You know, I don't need your apology, because I was the one that was in the wrong, and I deserved everything that I got. And I could only speak to her. Now, you know what I'm saying? His sister came to her defense and whatever, but we could have just squared up one-on-one. But, you know, it happened the way that it happened.
Things happen how they did.
And if it wouldn't have, I'm not used to people holding me accountable for. The only people I'm used to holding me accountable for my bullshit when I'm high is my parents and probation and the judge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it sounds like you're starting to hold yourself accountable, though.
I have to, because how am I gonna? I don't want to continue to hold. You don't understand. I've carried this like a fucking backpack, and I'm like,
drop it off.
I'm dropping that shit off because I'm not the same person anymore. You know what I mean? I don't want my daughter to feel like she has to find her worth in somebody else. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't want her to feel like the things that I was doing was okay, even if she doesn't know it. You know what I mean? I don't want her to feel like you can just do whatever the fuck you want just because you look a certain way. Like, we're not doing that.
I don't think you're gonna have that.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Ava doesn't like anybody. She doesn't talk to anybody. Like, she doesn't wanna, you know.
So tell me this: you've mentioned Zoe a few times. Do you want to get into that?
So.
Zoe came after
Ava,
before Azrael.
2017. I was still in the Marks house, the transitional housing, when I had her. She was born. She didn't really. I had to have an emergency C-section. She wasn't. Her heart rate was going up and down. She wasn't breathing. You know what I'm saying? Well.
Was that because of drug use?
No. And
were you clean?
And yeah, I was. Okay. And this is what fucks me up, is because I was the same doctor that delivered her. Mm-hmm. And I let her know from the beginning. I said, I am starting to dabble in, you know what I'm saying, in drugs, and I need you to hold me accountable. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When I had Zoe, completely sober. Mm-hmm. clean, sober, because I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. Yeah. She had a genetic disorder, which is called trisomy 18, which is she had an extra pair of chromosomes, an extra set of chromosomes. So like her hands didn't open. She had to be fed through a tube through her nose. She had a hole in her heart. She had liver failure.
Is this genetic disorder? Is it something that gets better? So
They don't survive.
Did you know that she had it before she was born?
I didn't, but
did they have testing for that?
They did.
Okay, because I had a feel,
They did.
Yeah.
And even when I look at her ultrasounds, you could tell, that there was something.
Did they ever give you any type of inkling that there was anything wrong?
Dr. Huss did not do any of that.
Yeah.
Only until she was born. And
did they offer you the genetic testing?
No.
What did you only have like the?
I just had the panel.
The panel. Yeah.
I just had the panel. But trisomy 18 once she was born, and we went to the NICU and everything. They let me know that this is one of the main things that
you test for.
That we
it's
test
one
for.
of the things that they'll tell you should have an abortion if it comes.
Exactly,
up.
And my body was trying to reject her. Exactly. There were a couple of times when I couldn't find their dad, and I needed to go to the hospital. My sponsor, Miss Laura, love her to death. She would get up in the middle of the night and she would take me to the emergency room, and they'd be like, "Oh, she's fine. So she was born, and they were like, "We don't know what's going on, so we're going to take her from Lompoc Hospital. We're going to take her to Cottage." And then from Cottage, they airlifted her
to UCLA,
to Ronald Reagan.
Oh,
Ronald Reagan. I didn't know at the time that Stacia, Josh's sister, was an ER nurse at Ronald Reagan. Her partner now, Anthony. I don't want to say now, like she had some other one, but her partner
currently,
he was working security at the front. So if you went to the front, you had to see him, and he had to direct you to where you needed to go. I didn't even get to name her, V. When I got to hold her for maybe like 15 minutes, and they took her, and I'm sitting there in the.
They didn't take you with her.
No, because they couldn't. So I'm sitting in the maternity ward with no fucking baby. My mom's here, and I don't know how to process everything. Stacia calls me and is like, the helipad just landed, and the last name of the baby is Color. She said, "Is that our baby?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh my God." She's like, "I'm going upstairs right now." And because I couldn't leave because I had a C-section, like, Stacia wasn't allowed in certain areas of the hospital, but she didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's my nephew.
Bruh, she's my nephew. She's like buzzing herself in and shit. Right. Like, so I had pictures, I had videos, I had, everything of her, right? And they took care of her before I could get there. So when I got there, they set me up in a house, for like kind of the Ronald McDonald house. They set me up in a house like maybe like a block or so away. And I remember writing, Josh was in jail at this time, like he always was. But I wrote the judge a letter saying that, our daughter is not been doing well. She's probably not going to live. So can you just like release him so he can see him? He could see her. And, they ended up doing that. I remember laying in bed. I gave him directions, okay? And I'm laying in bed. And all of a sudden, like, I just get this inclining, like, because I'm seeing it, because the house that I was at the end of an intersection. So there's an intersection there's a stop sign right here, and then there's a road. And so I look out the window and I hear the rumbling of his truck. And so I go outside.
His big old truck.
His big old motherfucking truck, bro. Yeah. He said, I was lost. I had nowhere to go. And he said, somebody just told me to stop right here. And so he was able to see her. You know what I'm saying? We had We had her christened, all kinds of stuff. They were able to let her come home. For
I
a little
remember you
bit.
being at home with her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to come home for a little bit, and then she got sick when I took her back down there for a follow-up. She was with us for 6 weeks. She wasn't even supposed to live past 4. So when it was 6, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like,
what's the longest the babies live? Like, is there anybody who's adult who has this?
No.
No, because it's just like heart failure.
It's heart failure. Everything. It's everything combined together, right? She was on like 16 different medications. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't really sleep.
Have you looked up if your statute of limitations is up to be able to hold someone?
I was thinking about it, but it's just, she passed away in 2017.
You should need to look up your statute of limitations.
I don't want to.
You don't want to open that door. I understand.
Because it would just be more, you know what I mean? Like, more nonsense. Not nonsense, but.
She's at peace.
I mean, I don't know. She's at peace, but every time I move her, she gets upset. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
I mean, stop moving.
And it's funny because I have.
Wait, is that her up there or your I thought that was your grandmother.
No, that's her.
Oh, okay.
That's
the
her.
little heart.
She's right here,
Okay.
and she's right here too.
Okay. I thought that was your grandmother.
So when we spent some time with her, whatever, we brought her back up there, and then she got sick and came home. And I had to take her to Lompoc Hospital. She was in ICU. And I remember this is one of the instances where me and her dad kind of went back and forth because, he told me to my face, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was I supposed to do, Brittany? Was I just supposed to sit and watch the baby die? And I was like, well, what the fuck do you think I did? I not only had to watch her die, I had to hold my family together. I had to hold your fucking family together. You know what I'm saying? I had to still be a mom to Ava. I didn't have time to do any of that. So I'm ashamed to say that I stayed clean up until that happened. I accepted a 1-year coin for my 1-year anniversary high.
Well, give yourself grace.
Because
you know what I'm
saying.
How was she supposed to carry it?
But at the same time, I had my sponsor told me she was like, I appreciate, I'm glad that you did what you did because people are like, well, what I don't. She said the last thing you want to do is be nodding off while your daughter is fighting for her life, and I was. So, like, I couldn't even be mad at her. But, you know what I'm saying? She doesn't know that. Until now, probably.
Yeah.
But
what were you supposed to do, Brittany? Like, you had to get through how you could get through.
Yeah, but I could have done it, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is I got through it the way that I got through it, but I still threw shade on her dad for doing the same thing that I was fucking doing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so how dare I sit here and continue to point like, oh, this man's high, when we were getting high together, and he never threw me under the bus.
Yeah.
He never threw me under the bus because he knew what I was going through. But I was quick to do that to him, which is not okay. You know what I mean? Because we were both parents grieving at that same time. Just because he chose to grieve a completely different way. Like, bro, how are you gonna tell somebody that he needs to move this way when he's wandering without a map?
So
I can't. A lot of people don't know that I threw him under the bus a lot of times so that way I could get away with doing my own drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people didn't know that. People didn't know that the reason why I left Lompoc was because I was still getting high. I did good for a long, you know what I'm saying, a certain amount of time. But I started getting high again when I got my job at Starbucks. And I got my job at Starbucks from being at the Mark's house. My homegirl Sylvia, which was funny because her and her dude used to be my dealer, but she got her life together and she helped me get my life together. So she got me my apartment over there at Santa Rita Village. And I just
It's part of you holding yourself accountable and being able to tell your truth, whether it's positive, it puts you in a positive light or a negative light. Is that part of your recovery?
At this point, I don't give a fuck what it makes me look like, because I'm about to graduate with my associates in culinary fucking arts.
Say it one more time.
I'm about to graduate in June with my associate's degree in culinary arts. I've fed food to the mama from Friday. I've fed I've gone down to Skid Row and I've fed the homeless down there. I've bumped elbows with people that have bumped elbows with Anthony Bourdain and Gordon Ramsay.
Well, when you came here, what was your mission to come here? And tell us because you didn't just jump in the
I didn't have a mission. Okay,
so chef.
So when I got here, it took Stacia's partner to champion for me to come out there, and I'm not, what I'm saying, like, Stacia was hesitant just because, I don't know you, and now you're an addict, and you want me to invite you to my house, and I have all these kids, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So I had to prove to her, and I had to prove to everybody else that, I really want to do this. And it took a minute, what I'm saying. I started like drinking super crazy. I started, what I'm saying, like not like kind of backpedaling a little bit. But when I went into Claire Recovery, August. I went into Claire, Zoe's 8th birthday. See, and then I gotta fucking actually go.
Aww.
So August 17th.
Yeah.
August 17th. Joshua was in program at the Salvation Army a block away, and he gave me that referral. He gave me that referral, and he also bought my train ticket to come out here. So as much as everybody wants to, sit and say, oh, Josh this and Josh that and blah, 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 whatever, he got me out here. Mm-hmm. Because he didn't stay, whatever, like that doesn't mean anything. Yeah. He got me out here. Yeah. And so I remember, I didn't realize how, because I didn't, I was still not really familiar with LA. Like after Zoe passed away, I never came out here again. Mm-hmm. And I just started to get high and, do whatever I was going to do, self-medicating, whatever. When we passed, so Anthony and them live in Lomita. And Claire is in Santa Monica. We happened to just pass Ronald Reagan Memorial Center, the place that Zoe was taken to the day that he took me to program. Mm-hmm. So everything was coming full circle. Yeah. And now I understood this is exactly where I needed to be.
Where you're supposed to be.
I did what I had to do. I was able to grieve, not to mention my counselor there had lost twins of her own. Mm. So she was able to help me.
She understood.
Yeah, she was able to help me get through what I needed to get through. My homegirl Jen, whom I love to death, and now I still talk to this day. I didn't like her at first because I was like, I don't know if I like your attitude. I don't like, because she's Latina, she's from El Salvador, and she's real like in your face.
Yeah,
I love that now. But then I was like, bitch, who the fuck are you? But she was like, when we both got out of program, I was at a halfway house in South Central, and she was from the same company. She was at one like 2 streets over. So we became really, really good friends. She got me to Trade Tech because she's in medical. She's like a surgical tech.
Okay.
Or something. She was like, they have a culinary program at Trade Tech. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah. She was like, you love to cook. You cook for us all the time. Like, you should do that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. I went and I signed up. I didn't have Ava and Papas with me because they were still staying with Josh's parents. Just because...
You're getting yourself together?
I'm getting myself together. And I think that my parents might have felt some type of way about that. But I felt like they were used to having so many grandkids. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where my parents were kind of used to like going to the, doing their own like little thing. So I didn't want it to seem like it was disrespectful or anything, but I just felt like now, after hearing, stories, like Ava probably would have loved either to be at your house.
You're crazy.
At your house or my parents, but
yeah.
I had a standing date with them every day. I called at the same time, and
either way, they supported you.
Yeah,
through that.
they, they did what they needed to do.
Yeah.
But then when it got to the point to where I got on my own feet and I started to take them back, was when things started to shift. You know what I'm saying? A little bit like, oh, you should have gave us notice, and you should.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, so Ava came first, and I got her enrolled in school, and then me and her actually came and saw this place afterwards, and I was able to kind of get this place together before Papa's came with me.
Okay.
Like, I remember when there's videos where it's just, I had just one chair and this little tiny TV, that little tiny TV, that little tiny TV right there, and maybe like, I'm saying, like a little,
it was enough.
Yeah, and it was enough. But to see how far we've came from there to now.
Now you have all the black pictures that I want.
You know what I'm saying? And
I just feel like I could take one.
I don't. And you know what's funny is this picture right here.
I love that one.
It's a picture that I loved, and I got it from Ross when I was at my apartment right before.
I love that one.
Right before I ended up giving it up to them because I didn't pay rent or whatever. And when my mom and my sister came down here, Kareem gave me $800 to furnish it.
Aww.
And we went to Ross, and that was the first picture that I saw.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And I was like, oh yeah, you're coming back home with me.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So having to go through, having to go through all of that, not to mention just the markers, or I'm a video game person, so the checkpoints, that the game of life is giving me to let me know that I need to be here. You know what I mean? One of my first chefs that I got was Chef Spence. She is from New Orleans. She's one of the first black accredited chefs in LA. Her mom was too. She understood my story. She understood my plight. Her husband is a recovering addict. So, every time she sees me around, she's like, "Are you okay, Brittany?"
She's checking on
you. How you doing?
Do you feel blessed? You've been through a lot. How old are you?
I'll be 39 in June. I feel like I have. I also feel like there's a lot of things that, especially like being, a lot of my guilt parenting, comes from me not being there. Or it comes from like, okay, so case in point, I left Ava I was renting an apartment from some random people that I don't even know, and she was asleep. I left her there so I could go down the street and I could pick up some, some dough. Mm-hmm. I remember when I was riding back, there was a fucking owl, right? That was like I could hear it in the background, up in the trees. And I was riding my bike and I was trying to ride super fast because I was like, oh, she's gonna wake up. And it was right behind me. And all of a sudden, this nigga came in front of me, bro, and just swooped down. And my ex-sponsor, Miss Laura, she's Indian. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So she's always like, look for those signs. And I swear, when it, dipped in front of me, I was like, okay, I have to get it together. As soon as I got home and I came through the back gate or whatever, all I could hear was Ava crying because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm hungry, Mom, I'm hungry. So now what I do, if you don't see it, look, I have a little chest, you know what I'm saying?
From you, just the trauma.
So I put...
What kind of those? Since you want to let us know. I've never had snickerdoodle.
Bruh. So I put little candies out. I put things that are at eye level. You know what I'm saying? It just in case, like maybe I've been up because most of my classes are at 6:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm up and she doesn't want to wake me up or whatever. So
You never wanted it.
I never want her to need for anything, and I never want Papa to need for anything. But I feel like Ava had to go through a whole lot that she didn't have to.
Yeah.
Just because of what I went through, her, you know what I'm saying, what her dad went through. So I feel like we're both on the road to redemption.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, though, I can't just spoil her.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to find the
balance.
Yeah, the balance.
You can't guilt parent because you don't want to give her things just because you weren't there.
Well, you
creating the structure and the boundaries and that's.
I mean, I'm saying like I do, and people are like, oh, the reason why she's an A student, Papa's an A student is because of you, and I'm like, no, they lived with my parents. Like they're A student. She's an A student because of them.
Well, they gave her the fail, but she's an A student this semester because of you. Because if you didn't make sure she went to sleep, if you didn't make sure that she had the foundation in the house right now, if you didn't make sure these bills are paid and she has to go back there, you don't know how that would affect her and if she would still be able to pull that A. Yeah. So you're creating that. So you have to give yourself a little bit of grace and a little bit of you're part of it. Because look, when something happens and you say, well, she did that as something negative. Well, she did that because of what I showed her. If you're going to do that to yourself, which I'm assuming you are, if she does something wrong, it's, well, maybe because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
If you'll do that, at least give yourself the same part as when she does something good. Because I'm here. I'm consistent. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not running out and leaving her down the street and on a bike pedaling real fast. You know what I mean? Like you're not that no more. So give yourself that.
Okay.
Give yourself that, Brittany.
And I think that's one of the main things that I have an issue with is giving myself grace because I caused so much hell.
Yeah.
And I caused so much discomfort with amongst my parents, my kids, even in my marriage.
But we know better, we do better.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing too that I have to kind of let it be known. Like, everybody wants to sit here and say that my partner is the reason why, things turned out the way that they did. But I was still a piece of shit too.
Yeah. It takes two to tango.
It takes two to tango. Like, it wasn't just him. You guys just hear about him because that's all I said was about him. But he knows, you know what I'm saying, that
he wasn't talking as much, so you only heard
exactly. You only heard what I said. And he continued to stay silent and didn't say anything about it because that's not the person that he is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we both could have managed our relationship better. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, I don't feel like even if we didn't manage it better, we would have been compatible as parents or... You know what I'm saying? He has his own stuff going on. I have my own stuff going on. You know what I mean? So I would rather be friendly, you know what I'm saying, with him in order to parent these kids than because
And that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what people don't understand. Oh, you're gonna be friends with him? So you want me to be mean to him? And you want me to just be rude? Like,
which is gonna cause your daughter more
pain. You know what I'm saying, and more issues.
Yeah.
Like, not to mention, you know what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't even have you know what I'm saying, like parents that really give a fuck about him. So like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why would I do that?
Yeah. Well, because but you're accepting your part in it. So it's like, how can I do that when I know that I played a part?
I was just as fucked up as him. Like, he might have did something, and then I, you know what I'm saying, did it back to him tenfold. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, the girl that was the first person to shoot me up with some dope, he, was hanging out with her. Mm-hmm. So my thing was, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go and hang out with all the niggas that you have around you, and you're not even going to know about it. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, after I did all that fuck shit, it didn't. I still felt like a piece of shit because number one, you know what I'm saying? I went outside of my morals to prove a point, and then number two, it still didn't give me you.
And it didn't prove the point.
And it didn't prove the fucking point
No.
at all. So women out there, we're trying to get, one up. One thing that I've learned is if you're trying to do one up and two up, you know what I'm saying, on a man, that's not going to make anything better. Anything better at all. Because number one, men, as much as they don't want to say that they're emotional creatures, they are. Whatever you're going to do is going to make them hurt 10 times more. And then your morals are just fucking thrown down the drain for what? For something that you didn't even fix.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned. Going into my relationship now with my New York king. Shout out. Hey babe, love you. Is now I know how to communicate how I'm feeling rather than just trying to be an asshole and prove to you, oh, you're gonna hurt my feelings. Well, I'm gonna hurt your feelings 10 times more.
Yeah.
Because what is that? Everybody just has hurt feelings at the end of the day. And everybody's too prideful to be like, oh, well, that's my fault. That's my fault. No, we're just going to be like, well, you deserve this because you did this, this, and this. Like,
and then go cry in the corner. And
then go cry in the corner and be alone.
Yeah.
Like,
you like that man, Savannah.
He's a good man. He's a good man. You know what I'm saying? He just bought me some Air Forces. So.
Okay, it's a good man, Savannah.
But going through being an addict and being and having all of the bullshit that came with it has helped me be a better mother, a better coworker, a better student, a better partner. Because one thing that I would give Kareem is that he's not an addict. He doesn't understand, but he's willing to sit and try to understand. Mm-hmm. So he used to get mad at me when I would be like, I want to get high, I want to get high, I want to get high. He'd be like, why would you say that? And I was like, because me saying it is getting it out of here.
Yeah.
Because if it sits here, it's gonna continue to get worse and worse and worse, and I'm gonna want to get high. And it's LA. I can go to the Skid Row and get whatever the fuck I wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Pretty girl privilege. But he is starting to understand that now.
And stuffing in anything, probably anything negative, not being able to vocalize it, probably is triggering. Yeah. So I will vocalize it regardless of whether it makes him feel uncomfortable or not, because it helps keep me with him, or with, you know what I'm saying. It keeps me present. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not out looking for it. Whatever. And because they're like, oh, you wanted to come to LA to get clean? Like, why would you do that? LA's LA. And I'm like, I don't know anybody out here. I know everybody in Lompoc. I could go to Lompoc right now and be like, go to somebody's house and be like, look, or they just bring it to you and ask you. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But because it's so big and I don't know anybody, like,
you would have to go out your way.
I would have to go out of my way, and I'm not willing to do that. Because who's going to watch that?
At least you care now, though.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
Yeah.
I
mean, I care now.
You care now.
I care now. Sometimes, I don't know.
Okay, now we're going to switch it up because I want to know about some political views.
OMG.
Because ICE and stuff has been out here. How do you feel about ICE?
I feel like ice keeps my drinks cold.
You feel like ice keeps your drinks cold?
My drinks cold.
Do you have a lot of Hispanic friends? Do you work with a lot of Hispanic people?
I mean, that's a dumbass question because you know damn well, me being a chef, that I just saw. This is how I'm learning and I'm getting my Hispanic or my Spanish lessons. Okay. It's from working in the kitchen. So, I am...
Do you know people who've been personally affected by this? We're in LA, so...
So, I had one, on campus, there was one lady that doesn't really speak a whole lot of English, but we don't care.
Yeah.
And she was saying in broken English how her neighbor, who happens to be like her aunt or something, ICE came in, broke down the door and whatever, took the neighbors and the kids. And she came to class and she was crying because she felt like she should do something, but they stayed inside and locked all the doors and like didn't, do anything. And we were trying to tell her that, what
could you do?
What could you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you know what I'm saying, you're gonna go too because she, we know that she's undocumented, but I feel like as far as ICE, if you're gonna go to the undocumented people that are, rapists, you know what I'm saying, drug addicts, or not drug addicts, drug dealers, you know what I mean? Maybe. But you're snatching people that are just trying to sell flowers on the side of the road. Mm-hmm. You're snatching people in front of their fucking kids. And you're taking their kids too. Their kids have been born in America. You know what I'm saying? They have no idea what it's like. You're going to deport them back to a country they're not even familiar with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Half of these kids don't even speak Spanish. Most of them speak English.
Yeah.
So you're going to take them somewhere that they don't even... You know what I mean? They're not. So, okay. So when they had the riots downtown,
how do you feel about those?
Hell fucking yeah. Hell yeah.
Do you feel like, being a black woman, do you feel like we should be out there? Do you feel like black people should be out there?
I feel like black and brown people need to unite anyway. And all we're doing is just, saying fucking oh, well, this gang is this and this gang. I feel like we outnumber fucking everybody. Mm-hmm. We outnumber everybody.
What about the black people who say this isn't our fight? And that if we go out there...
Which is true, because at the same time, if something were happening to us, would Hispanic people be out there with us?
Well, there wasn't a lot out there. I don't want to say there was none, but for George Floyd and there wasn't a lot. But I say that because I'm like, we know that if we're out at a riot, they see a bunch of people, usually the black people get hit first, right? So with that, I've heard... But
I will say, at the ICE fucking, riots that were downtown, mm-hmm. there were a lot of white people that were down there. Mm-hmm. There was a little girl that got sprayed in the face with tear gas.
That happened in Goleta too.
It's like, why would you...
Lady.
So,
but the thing is, if you're doing it to the Caucasian lady, what are they going to do to me? If they're already spraying the Caucasian lady and little girls with tear gas, I mean...
But I feel like that is showing solidarity. So, say for instance, a black person, mm-hmm. a black woman, mm-hmm. Goes down there and is standing in solidarity with the people that she works with. You know what I'm saying? Elbow to elbow because you can go to Denny's, you can go to a fine dining restaurant, you can go to a sushi restaurant, but let me tell you something. The people that are working behind there are probably brown.
Yeah.
So as a person that works in that industry, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it would be my duty to go down and stand with my brothers and sisters.
Do you feel like it's safe for you?
I don't think it really fucking matters because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Did Malcolm X
he did it, but he was doing it for his own people. And so I think the stance that some black people have is that I support you, but I can't be active in this fight. Now, how do you feel about that?
And that's perfectly fine. If you don't feel like you can be active in it, then that's fine. But all I know is that if I don't go down there and stand up for my brothers and sisters that can't be there because they're illegal,
okay,
you know what I'm saying? Who's
gonna do it?
Who's gonna fuck? The CEO of the restaurant's not gonna do it. The owner of the restaurant's not gonna do it. The fucking, you know what I'm saying? The people that go and eat there, they're not gonna fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? But I've been elbow to elbow with motherfuckers that are the sweetest people. There's this one lady that makes sure to bring me tamales every time she makes them, and they are bomb.
So do you think that you being down, or not you, but do you think that your support, which you're willing to be active, not just supportive, do you think that that's more about personally you being around these people and you understand what they're going through? Or do you feel like, let's say they were having a rally in Burbank, or no, we're not going to say Burbank, they're having a rally in Texas. Would you follow the riots, or is it more of, these are my people that you're
These are my people.
So it's okay.
These are my people. LA, these are my people. So not only are you just, you know what I'm saying, kicking down people's doors or going to the Santee Alley, you know what I'm saying, where people are just trying to make a living. You know what I'm saying? You know how much, let me tell you, every time it's time for back to school, we go down to the alley and I get all kinds of clothes that are, you know what I mean? And I'm willing to support because they're not out there fucking being assholes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're chasing the American dream. And because it takes so long, and I got into it with one of my other coworkers because it was like, well, they should come here legally, you know, and da-da-da. Bruh, you still have to have money in order to do that. Mm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time I don't, because you're not arresting people that are, you know, actually harming the community from what I've seen.
Well, the execution, I think we said before the camera came on, is all fucked up.
Yeah, the general consensus, like his. Okay, I get it.
Oh, you feel me? Okay, I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying, but the way that you execute it is fucking trash.
Yeah.
It's trash, because now you're rounding up people that are actually here trying to make... There's my one tamale lady. She hasn't been there since this whole thing started, and her tamales are fucking fabulous, and I don't even know, like, where she is.
And you're upset.
I'm upset.
You're upset.
And I'm upset.
Okay.
I'm upset because I can't even find Brittany. Because I can't even find, and I know that she's not a, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I would like to believe she's not, you know, doing things that are warranted for her to be deported or whatever.
But I mean, right now, to be warranted to be deported is just to be Hispanic,
just to
or
be
look like
Hispanic,
it. Or to look like it. You don't even have to be Hispanic. You can look like it.
And then some black people are like, well, you know, we've been dealing with this, you know, our whole lives, and and you know, now they're finally getting a taste of. So we're gonna be because they're finally getting a taste of a black. So we should be proud of that.
Yeah, no.
Like, we're just because, you know what I'm saying, you feel some type of way, like that doesn't warrant. Like the way that my parents raised me is to be a voice, you know what I'm saying, for people that are unheard. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then yeah, you should go. But if you are, and you're still trying to rope them into the whole if you're trying to rope them into the niggas that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing,
the whole narrative,
like, that's not okay.
Pedophile, killer.
Yeah,
you're trying to.
So you're trying to arrest Lupe, the fucking
tamale lady, because Federico, the pedophile. Yeah. Like, I don't think that's okay. Yeah.
So I mean, if you're gonna do what you're gonna do, like, do that, but leave all the other people out of it. Like, so now we're just trying to rope everybody up together.
So I just wanted. So where are you? Because I want to. Because I have different types of viewers. So I have some people who they're against ICE, some people who they're for ICE, some people who they'll be out there in protest, some people won't be out there in protest, some people who are support but can't be active. Everybody has different reasons. Where are you? Like, where is your line? Will you go out there and protest?
Yes.
You will go out there and protest. Mm-hmm.
Just because they wouldn't protest for me, that I can't base my feeling and my belief on what somebody else is doing.
Well, maybe the people that are impacting your decision, because the people you rub elbows with, maybe they would be out there if it was a cause for you.
And that's exactly
because it sounds like you're not.
That's exactly
you're out there for the cause, but you're also out there because it's affecting people that you directly.
And we've sat and had this conversation. I remember we had this week. So I went into work. So I do a lot of freelance, work. And it's an app that I have to where they're like, if if you're a cook or a barista or something, if you need work, it's kind of like Indeed, sort of. So we had a whole meeting where it was like, what, and even Trade Tech even came through and said, because ICE was on Trade Tech's fucking campus. And they had to shut the whole campus down, and we were stuck there because they wouldn't open the gates to let them in, and we had to sit there and hang out. You know what I'm saying? For a second, my whole thing is, I don't care. It's not that I don't care, but what you have to do, what you're gonna do if the situation was reversed. Has nothing to do with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up for what my parents taught me to do. Was to stand up for what's right. So if I'm standing up for a Mexican guy that's not even going to stand up for me, I don't know that. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show that Mexican guy's children or his friends or whoever, you know what I'm saying? Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, if they're coming to, take somebody out of my apartment complex that's a fucking, Randy the rapist, then by all means.
Yeah.
By all means. But I don't know that if I'm out on the streets with you. So that's one of the reasons why I would rather go out and protest with people that are in the same. So I wasn't going to say anything about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. So just because I'm sorry.
Okay, she told me not to talk about it.
I wasn't going to talk about it, but I had some people that work with me, that were like, well, we want to go downtown, but we can't, but our kids are going to go because they're, U.S. citizens. And I was like, I don't think that matters. You know what I'm saying? Because they're still arresting motherfuckers, even if they look, even U.S. citizens, even if they look brown or whatever, they're still going to arrest them. And they're like, well, that's the risk they're willing to take. And I was like, well, I will stand with them. You know what I mean? Because where are you going to send me back to?
I'll send you somewhere.
I would rather go anywhere than here right now with these pedophiles and Jeffrey Epstein. Like, fuck that shit. I would rather go anywhere other than here.
Except Epstein Island.
Yeah, you know what? Well, black people weren't allowed to go there anyway.
We were.
Anyway, and you know what? And
we won that war.
I was like, this is the only time that racism has worked in our favor.
Exactly.
And I appreciate that shit.
And we didn't want it. We didn't want it.
But, you know what I'm saying? Regardless, if one of my cooks was like, my mom is illegal and I'm here and I'm going to go down there. Do you want to go with me? Hell yeah, I'm going to go.
Okay, so what happened when you went down there? You said you brought it up. You opened the door, so just walk through it.
First of all, there was a whole lot of people that weren't Hispanic that were there.
Okay.
So there weren't a lot of black people that were there.
There wasn't, huh?
There wasn't a lot of black people there.
How many?
There were a lot of Samoan. There were a lot of...
How many black people?
From what I saw...
Why you?
Maybe 15.
Okay.
And I wasn't there for that long.
Okay.
I wasn't there for that long. The girl that I went with, she is not, illegal, but she's had her mom and her grandma and maybe a couple of cousins or whatever.
Okay.
So she's like, well, I'm going to go down there. And then I tried to be like, I feel like you're just looking for a reason to get rowdy. And she was like, if this isn't a reason to get rowdy, then what fucking reason do you need? And I was like, well, bitch, let's go. Okay, for sure. I got you.
So you were ready to get rowdy.
I was ready to get rowdy.
Okay.
Okay. And it was more of I feel like LAPD is a lot of organized chaos. They like to seem like they're organized, but they weren't. Because how are we able to push you into a fucking How are we able to push you into a corner, bro, and throw your tear gas back at you?
So that's what happened when you got down there. You were pushing the police back and throwing
They
tear
were
gas?
first of all, they were already there. They were already there. Okay, but you know, there's a little girl next to me. There was another young little black girl next to me.
Somebody
So,
with a young black
and
child.
you're gonna throw, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand you're pushing the corner, you know what I'm saying? But why don't you just shut the gate and just go inside? You chose to stand right there and try to spray people, like
You guys are getting sprayed also.
it's sprayed out. Well, they were getting sprayed, so you know,
What were they getting sprayed with?
CO2,
Oh.
bear
And
mace.
then how close did the bear mace? Okay. How close did the gas can come to you?
Not very close.
You didn't pick it up?
No, I didn't.
Oh. Are you telling the truth?
No.
You just said you threw it back.
No.
You just said
I don't want my mom to get mad. Okay, you
your
know,
mom
whatever.
is already mad. You were
So this is what we did. Okay, it was more like,
and I told you this wasn't a good idea.
I mean, well,
When your
whatever.
mom sees this,
You know what I'm saying? I feel like
But go ahead.
maybe she'll
Go ahead.
be.
I just want her
maybe
to know
she'll
that
be.
I wasn't like an
maybe
accomplice to
she'll
this.
be happy to know
Negative.
that I.
She raised a daughter that stands up for everyone. I don't know if that's the vibe.
You know what? I think it's time for you to leave because we got we got things to do right now.
And
Like,
you're down there with tear gas, so
no, but if I'm already, my shit is already masked up.
you had a mask
why?
on. You had a.
I had
gas
my
mask on?
bandana. I had my bandana right here, and I had some glasses, bro.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, well, what are we gonna do? Like, we're just gonna sit here and just let this shit happen? No. They threw. So I'm standing right here. They threw one over here, one that was like right here before us, and then like one right here. And as soon as this one was thrown, I felt somebody grab like my shirt. And when I turned and looked around, I didn't know if it was a midget or I just thought that it was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked it up and fucking threw it back. And then I left like 20 minutes after that.
Why'd you leave?
Because I had kids at the house. And I didn't
So you had a good hour for the riot.
I
I just don't think it's safe. I'm all about getting out there.
I
like, if you
know.
support, but I'm saying for you, it doesn't sound like your encounter was safe for you.
But at the same time, the encounter is not safe for them either.
It's not.
And they work with me. So what happens if I'm working, you know what I'm saying, and we're behind the line and they bust down the door?
What happens if you're out there and they arrest you at the least?
That's
or do
why I
more?
left after I threw it.
Okay, because I'm just saying, because little Israel is going to be looking out the window.
No, that's why
My mom was at the
No.
riots and
we're smarter now. That's why we left. That's why we left.
he was there too.
I was only no. He was not.
Okay, because you said we.
That's
We
why
already
I
on our
left.
way.
That's
Okay.
why I left, bro. Because I'm not gonna be down there.
Yeah.
Who's gonna watch it?
Exactly.
And then I want to be like, oh, your mom was a martyr. They've had, you know, she stood up for me. She's gonna be
You'll
like,
be on
what?
the news. And it's just like, that's how I feel like. We should definitely support our brown brothers and sisters, but we have to make sure we stay safe.
And that's why.
We're gonna have another. Trust me, we are gonna have something else to write about.
And that's why I left.
I know, but I'm just saying, like black people, we know our time is coming.
Our time. We've always had our time.
It's coming back. We were just out there for George Floyd. Now there's ICE out there. We're coming back. They never forget about us. So we gonna have our time to shine. It's not really shining, but you know what I'm saying? We're gonna have our time to riot. Like,
You know-
we gotta be safe. We have to stay safe. Because the thing about it, it's not about not supporting our Hispanic brothers and sisters. It's more about, we know that the police target us.
Yeah.
They target them, but they target us before they target them. And so I
feel
know
like
if I'm
now-
standing next to my sister, my Hispanic sister, I know that they gonna get me, and then they gonna get my Hispanic sister.
When somebody said, they were like, on IG, they were like, well, yeah, now black people, we can move, you know, as freely as we want to because
We
they're not
definitely
targeting us.
We definitely
And I was
can.
like, what does that even mean? Like, what?
We definitely can. Well, because I think right now it's like they have a bullseye on the back of Hispanics' back, and so black people feel like, oh, they got off of us a little bit, but they really haven't. They just kind of, I mean, look at, they got enough room to have the bullseye on everybody's back.
Yeah.
It's really not. But I think about the supporting part. I mean, I feel like I'm all about supporting them. I don't, supporting Hispanics with this, and just supporting the cause. Like, I don't think it's right. But I also can't be out there at the riots. I also feel like I have to set, and for me, setting the boundary.
I mean, that's the only reason why I went was because I wouldn't have had that opportunity in Lompoc.
We marched. We didn't have tear gas. We didn't have.
Bro, you had 7 people on the corner of.
We marched. We marched all the way down Ocean and then up H for Floyd, and then we went and stood for the Lompoc police station, and they had the gauges behind the windows, those punk asses, but wouldn't come out but did the photo op for the NAACP.
7 of y'all.
No, it's a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be disrespectful.
I'm not.
7 of us.
I'm not.
No, we didn't get tear gas, and we weren't pushing.
I mean, I'm just saying. I feel like a gangster right now.
I feel like a gangster.
I'm like, I don't know what.
I mean, you chin checking me about my little.
I mean, like
you do the little advocacy, but I'm out there.
But I feel like it's. I wouldn't know of like I wouldn't be aware of how important it was if I wasn't here, and if I didn't work with them. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
If I was in Lompoc, you know what I'm saying, I would still, because we still marched for BLM, George Floyd, all that. Me and Lillian were out there.
But it's not as heavy in Lompoc, and it doesn't affect people the way it affects people.
It's not as heavy. If I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, have listened to a lot of because there was a lot of, when this whole ICE shit happened, a lot of good cooks and good students that were at Trade Tech, and not only that, mechanics, because they have a mechanic program, they have a nursing program. A lot of everybody dropped out.
I know that
because they were scared. Yeah. They were fucking scared, and I was like, well. So to come downstairs into the big kitchen, and usually there being 50 people, and there was only what, 23 of us. Yeah. It's like, what? And it was mostly the good fucking, you know what I'm saying, cooks that knew, you know what I'm saying, what they were doing. Like, we knew what we were doing, but they were just naturally good at it. And it was like, so, you know, like what the fuck are we doing? Yeah. And not only, I feel like I had an obligation, because being the vice president of Black Student Union, you know what I'm saying, I felt like they stand with us, you know what I'm saying, they stood with us back when the George Floyd thing was happening, even though I wasn't there, but they stood with BSU for that, and I was like, okay, so we need to stand with you guys
for sure
for now, so let's do that shit. And then for me to be the only person, the president didn't show up. A couple of there was only maybe me and the 2 student advisors that was there. But like people that were at BSU, they didn't even show up. But they showed up for you guys when the whole George Floyd shit happened. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not doing that tit for tat thing. Like, if you're gonna support me, I'm gonna support you regardless. And because it just happened to go, you know, downtown and throwing fucking tear gas back and forth, like, I had to do what I had to do.
I guess we had to do it.
Oh, I left. You know what? This nigga's getting a little out of control. And my homegirl that was with me, she was like, well, I got the car around the corner. I was like, okay, well, let's just go then.
I think this is what my mom was talking about.
Right.
She's never wrong.
I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry.
She's never wrong.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We are on an hour and a half now. We are done. Is there anything else you got to say?
I just would like to say that anybody that is struggling with addiction, if you have children and you feel like it's going to you don't think it's going to get worse, it's going to get worse. So let's not wait until the people take our kids. Let's get it together, because at the end of the day, you're at the bottom right now. So all you can do is go up. And I'm a testament to that, because I was at the bottom. I continue to go up despite everything. Those babies are worth it. They did not choose to be here, We brought them here. So why don't we give them a better life than the one that we had?
Yeah.
Drugs are going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Would you rather your child find you unresponsive on the bathroom floor because you actually got some dope that had some fucking fentanyl in it?
Yeah. And that's the reality.
That's the reality of shit. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
I've lost too many people. Too many people.
Yeah.
Too many people to that shit. And the kids have nobody.
And now they're suffering.
And now they're suffering.
What a hole.
So let's stop thinking about ourselves and think about the future. What did Whitney Houston had said?
What did Whitney Houston say?
I believe
Crack is
the
whack.
children are our future. Teach the women.
She also said crack is whack. Did she say that?
No.
Bobby!
She, first of
She
all,
said that
you
too.
don't have any receipts, okay?
Oh,
You
she
don't have
said that. She said crack is whack.
Bye.
Swears on the street.
Oh
Thank
my
y'all.
God.